Christian Car Guy radio show.
Where are you, Christmas? Do you remember the girl you used to know?
I say this calls for action, and now.
You and I were so carefree. Now nothing's easy. Did Christmas change or just me?
Where are you, Christmas? Today on the Christian Car Guy, you might have guessed that from the intro. But today on the Christian Car Guy show, we are going on a treasure hunt. I'm serious. Yes, the treasure hunt for Christmas. It's the stuff of 1,000 Christmas movies. I mean, maybe millions of Christmas stories. The lament of Cindy Lou Who there from The Grinch Stole Christmas. If you're not familiar with it, it's
It doesn't get any better than that, I tell you.
So God had me on this treasure hunt all week, and so I thought I would invite you in to begin to look for the treasure that is Christmas. And I think it's Advent, right? We're excited about that. And, you know, some people decorate their cars. I get that. You know, you put a big red nose on the hood and there's festiveness there and things. But this week, I in my never-ending study of the Song of Solomon, there was a change from one set of verses that we talked about actually last week. Then all of a sudden, he starts praising this girl. And there was a lamed, which is the 12th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right there at the very beginning. And I came to find out that word, or that letter is the 12th letter of the alphabet in Hebrew, but it means the heart. And it's really significant in Hebrew literature when a phrase starts with a lamed, it's saying, get ready, this has to do with the heart. And the heart is kind of where the action is. And I've written about this many, many times, about if you're looking for the lost Ark of the Covenant, you wonder where that ended up. You know, the Holy of Holies, if your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, then where's the Holy of Holies? It's your heart. And so as I was thinking about that, now just stay with me. I'm going to get you there eventually. You're going to go, what does it have to do with cars? What does this have to do with the treasure hunt? Well, just stay with me. Think about Luke chapter 2. That's what we always do, Christmas season. You've read it a million times, I hope. You've pondered it many times. You've seen it with fresh eyes. But in the 18th and 19th verses of the story, it reads like this. It says, all those who heard were amazed at these things the shepherds told them. They were all amazed, right? Everybody was amazed. But, and then there's this but Mary treasured all these things, pondering them in her heart. Now, I was thinking about it this morning. How would Luke know that? How would he know that everybody else was amazed, but Mary pondered these things in her heart, unless perhaps Luke got the Christmas story from Mary, right? He had, she lived in Ephesus up there on the mountain with John. There, as the church was functioning, Luke was clearly there. He had a chance to talk to her. Do you suppose that the reason that Mary's genealogy comes in the 3rd chapter there, or Mary genealogies in the book of Luke, do you suppose that Mary shared these things with Luke, and that's how he knew that she had pondered them and treasured them in her heart? So I began to ask God, what does this mean? Where are we going? Take me on this treasure hunt. What is it? Help me put this together. And he kept on telling me, Robbie, go study the ark. Go back and study the ark. And I've studied the ark, I don't know how many times, but I was just like, okay, I love the ark. Let me go back and study it. And I studied it with fresh eyes. And I went and I looked at the Hebrew word for ark there, not the ark that Noah got in, but the Ark of the Covenant, is AROWN. And come to find out, it had a fresh meaning I had never really perceived or thought about before. And it means a treasure chest of gathered fruit in a way. Now, what? It was certainly a treasure chest. You've seen the pictures of it. It was gold, and it had inside of it, you might remember, it had the manna and it had the rod that budded. Well, the rod that budded was an almond branch, and the almond branch is the first fruits that bud in that area of the world. And so, yeah, that has to do with fruit. And so does manna. But the law, now that one's still throwing me a little bit, but I thought about it. Now, wait a minute. Mary treasured all these things in her ark where she meets with God, right? That's where Moses met with God, was there at the ark in the mercy seat. You know the story. Well, we get to meet with God at Christmas. And as we begin to ponder these things this Christmas, I'm hoping that you will ponder with me, what fruit have you seen that God has done this year? What fruit have you seen in this season? Obviously, we get to ponder the Christmas story and all those things in our heart too, and I hope you're pondering those fresh. But as we do, God's manifested himself in so many different ways, and we here at the Christian Car Guy Show get to see it in the Jesus Labor Love. But speaking of fruit, let's have some fun. It's time to play Define That Defect. Resolve that roar. Trace that tick. Highlight that hubbub. Name that noise. Chronicle that clatter. All right, get ready to name this noise, which, by the way, I will just disclose early, has nothing to do with the car. It has nothing to do with the car. It has everything to do with today's topic, and it has everything to do with Where Are You Christmas.
Some bad fruit. Is this what we're talking about? Really bad fruit.
It's not a defect. This isn't a defect. It's a name that noise, and you just got to listen to it. I'm very interested to see who can win, and if you can name this noise, Keith, tell them what they'll win.
You win a book from my Christian Car Guy prize vault.
Okay. So if you call us at 866-348-7884, if you can name this noise. Yeah. I know
everybody's got that right.
That's a little tricky this time.
Yeah.
But you get ready to call us. It has something to do with what we're talking about. 866-348-7884, 866-34-TRUTH. Keith, can you play it one more time for him? Because I know that one's tricky. So, wow. And I just tell you that when I went hunting for this noise, it wasn't the easiest noise in the world to find. But I found it, and that is the noise, and people are calling in at 866-348-7884. We already got some callers. I'm
interested to hear what that.
I'm excited about that, but what I really hope you do is on your call today, and I would love for you to call. And one of the fruits that I ponder in my heart throughout the year, and I'm sure you do, Jerry, is the wonderful callers. What a fruit God has given us with this ministry, that these callers that we get every week.
Robbie, just think, could you even imagine the way God has been able to use this program? I mean, really, it's nothing special coming here, but over the years, some of the calls and the callers that are calling in probably this morning may have that same story, that you just sit back in this chair and you go, man, God is good.
Yeah, he is. And we can ponder these things in his heart, on our hearts. And it's more than phenomenal. I have one of those stories just to start you all off, and it happened yesterday. Okay. So we have the Jesus Labor, or maybe you don't know. We have the Jesus Labor Love, which is car repair labor for single moms, widows, and families in crisis. And I can't even believe how many years we've been doing this now, Jerry. And it has morphed into a lot more than it ever, and it keeps growing and it keeps expanding. And so we started giving cars away when people would donate cars. And so you can go to the website, ChristianCarGuy.com, and you can see there's a line there for people to donate cars. And, of course, I get applications for cars. And so Wait.
Before you go into that, just quickly, I want to say something, because you say sort of pondering things in our hearts. And I'm sitting here and I think about that afternoon at lunch when me, you, and Bob met at a little restaurant right off a gum tree, and you sprung this idea where God laid it on your heart, and who could ever imagine that it turned into what it is?
Yeah. I remember that, and I was terrified, like, this is going to sound crazy, but God made it all happen. So we have, believe it or not, 3 people with the answer possibly to that noise. So we're going to play that. We got the answer. We want to hear your fruit, the one that you are storing up in your heart this Christmas. 866-348-7884.
Where are you, Christmas? Do you remember the one you used to know? I'm not the same one. See what the time's done.
Where are you, Christmas today? The treasure hunt on the Christian Car Guy Show. I've got a Jesus labor love story to share with you here in a minute. But first, we got to resolve this noise. So I've got Katie is in South Carolina. How fun, Katie! You're on the Christian Car Guy Show. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm gonna let Keith play that noise one more time so you can have a clean shot at what is this noise?
Okay.
What do you think's going on there, Katie?
Wrapping paper.
Oh, I love that. You know, I wasn't there when they recorded this, but it may be way back in the background somebody was wrapping a gift. They would have had to been outside doing it, but you could be right. So we're going to let you win a book from the prize vault.
I think that's a winner for sure.
I love that. And, you know, if I heard that for the first time, I might think it's wrapping paper, too. And that's certainly a gift. And I was thinking about it. Think of all the presents God has given you, you know, and gifts. And when you're unwrapping them and using them, like, you know, I was thinking about, he gave me the gift of being able to speak on the radio. He really did. And unwrapping that over the years has been just phenomenally joyful. And so I love the idea of wrapping presents and unwrapping presents.
I do too.
Do you have kids or grandkids you get to watch this year unwrap some presents?
I have a 15-year-old daughter, so she'll be unwrapping presents. Then I have lots of great nieces and nephews, and so there'll be little ones unwrapping gifts.
And with that joy and that scream when they see that gift, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is one of the treasures we can ponder our heart. Katie, thank you so much for calling in and answering today.
Thank you. You're a treasure to listen to. I recently canceled a radio station that I had to pay for every month because of budgets, and I found you on AM radio, so you're a treasure.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you called in. I'm honored. God bless. All right, moving on. We have Orlando, who is in High Point. And Orlando, would you like to listen to the noise again?
No, I got it.
You got it.
All right. Man, that is stepping up to the plate with all the confidence in the world.
Well, just fire away, Orlando.
It's actually kids unwrapping the gifts. It's carrying it all up.
You know, that's
Christmas morning.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting that this noise relates to that. Now, again, as I mentioned, there could be people in the background unwrapping presents, or they could be wrapping presents, just like the other caller said. But this is actually happening outside, and I would have to say that in a way there's gifts involved. So we're gonna say that that these are gifts that are being unwrapped, but not in the way that you're necessarily thinking, Orlando. But I love your answer, and we're gonna count it and get you a book. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. God bless. All right,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Orlando. We have Franklin is in Virginia. Franklin, you're on the Christian Car Guy Show. What do you think?
Hi, guys.
Hi, you want me to play it again?
You could do it, but I'm pretty adamant about what it is.
Okay.
All right, here we go again.
All right, fire away.
You mean?
Yeah.
You mean to just tell it to you?
Yeah, just tell it to me.
Okay. It sounds like the very noise that happened the other day. I decided to go ahead and cut an old-fashioned Christmas tree, and I was walking along through the woods and the leaves, and that's what it sounded like to me.
And
dragging a tree.
There are leaves involved. And there may be somebody cutting a Christmas tree way back in the background that I did not know that was there when I recorded this. You know, you just
never know. Well, there's somebody walking on leaves.
Yeah, there are leaves involved.
It's not paper. It's not paper. It's an F sharp. I'm a musician.
You are absolutely correct. It is leaves.
Okay.
You are correct about leaves, and we are going to.
Well, it was real crisp.
It is crisp.
Too crisp, but paper doesn't do like that.
You're right. You're right. And so that's part of it. And so we're going to count it as a winner. But thank you for calling.
Thank you.
All right. God bless. All right. Merry Christmas to Franklin. We got Ramona is in Walnut Cove. So, Ramona, you're on the Christian Car Guy Show this morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm trying to get away from the radio that's on all over the house.
Well, we're glad that you got our radio on.
It doesn't bleed through. Yeah, we're just listening all over the house. My guess is, and it's a little far-fetched because you mentioned leaves, and mine isn't so much leaves as it is rough grass or tundra. And what I'm thinking it's the shepherds that are walking through the tundra, the grass, the tumbleweeds of the barren hillsides of Judea to go and follow the star to the stable. And it's windy.
And that's beautiful. I mean, oh my goodness.
I'm there.
I like your answer a lot in so many different ways. And again, you know, who knows? Off in the background, way, way far off, there could be sheep walking in the tundra. I
can guarantee at that time
not exactly what I had in mind, but nonetheless fruit. and it's beautiful, wonderful. What a picture! And I'm excited about that. So. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Ramona. God bless.
And Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
So you can see you could still call in and name that noise. And so, you know, we'll play that again after the break, and you'll get a chance to do that. But I was speaking of the Lamed. And did you know that if you look in the Hebrew alphabet, that letter, the Lamed, goes higher than any other letter? It's the only one that goes above the line. And the Jews believe, and I would agree with them, that it's because the heart's aspiration is to get up there and enjoy God, to experience God. And to experience God at Christmas is the treasure hunt, right, that we're going after. And so I got a chance to do that yesterday with the Jesus Labor of Love. I had mentioned that I had made a horrible mistake. I really had. I had a car to give away that had been donated to us, and I had two people that I was considering for it. And the one had been texting me over and over and over again about finding out about it. And the other one I was giving it to, I got their text numbers mixed up. So I accidentally texted the title, a picture of the title and the VIN number to the person that wasn't getting the car. Oh, and then I had to explain that they weren't, and talk about a heartbreak. Well, wait to hear how God unraveled my mess. That's coming up with the Christian Car Guy Show. Plus, you still get to name that noise. 866-34-TRUTH.
Where is the laughter you used to bring me? Why can't I hear music play? My world is changing. I'm rearranging. Does that mean Christmas?
On a treasure hunt this morning on the Christian Car Guy Radio Show, we are asking the same question Mary Lou Who did. Where are you Christmas? And treasuring these things in our heart as we see it all over the place. We have been playing Name That Noise, and as promised, I wanted to play that noise. I know that the phone was ringing like crazy during the break. I saw that, and we weren't able to get to it as we had so many different calls. But we want to give you another shot at this noise. So, Keith, could you play it? 866-348 7884 if you want to name that noise, which I mentioned is not a car noise in any way, shape, or form. There's no car involved. And we've also mentioned that's outside. And one of the callers mentioned leaves, and I will promise there's leaves involved. 866-348-7884 is the number to call in that. Or if you've got that Christmas magic that you experienced in something, you saw God show up and it's been fruit and you've been treasuring it in your heart and pondering it like Mary, we would love to hear that story. 866-348-7884. So right before the break, I started telling the story of the Jesus Labor of Love. And, you know, we just had a huge year. God has blessed us in so many different ways. With so many more radio stations on the Christian Car Guy Show, so many more people applying on the Jesus Labor of Love, the thing is just really more than I would have ever dreamed. And so, as I mentioned, sometimes we get cars donated, and then we have a list of people that were waiting on cars. And I got these two applicants. One of them had applied in May and one of them in June. And as I mentioned before the break, I accidentally texted the title information and actually a picture of the title to the lady in June, not the lady in May, after I'd already promised the lady who had applied in May that she was going to get the car. But when the lady in June got the information, she assumed, oh, I'm getting a car. And so she, was off the hook happy. Well, when I realized what happened, I was put in a situation of immediate prayer, Jerry. Like, God, what in the world do I do? And it was just clear. I had to call the lady in June and say that I messed up and I sent you this information. Well, it was a knife jab in the heart when I did that, because she was like, oh, no. I had just told my husband, who's in the hospital, that we were going to get a car. And I was like, oh, man, And I said, well, we couldn't get this car till December 14th, which was yesterday. And we'll just start praying that God will provide another car, in your area, which was in Durham, North Carolina. And we'll just begin to pray. And she said, and her faith was strong. She said, I understand. I'm going to pray with you. God's going to provide me a car. And so interestingly, I had it all set for this other lady to win the car. Not win it, but, get the car. And she called about a week before she was to get the car, and she said, because when you get those cars, the applicant still has to have the money to get insurance, right? Because they got to have insurance on the car, and they got to pay for the tag, which isn't terribly expensive. This was a 98 Toyota. So this lady said, can I get the car in January? Well, I had another car donated in the same area that would be ready in January. But these people needed to give the car away this year. And so, as it turned out, I could give the car that I originally had to these people. And if you could have been there yesterday in Durham with me, when this lady came, and she obviously was hurting in all sorts of different ways, physically, emotionally, her husband's still in the hospital. Her daughter was there helping her. But I would point out, and I would be remiss if I didn't, Satan is always there to try to steal the joy. And we were supposed to all meet at 9:30, and the donor had very little time in order to transfer the title work over to the person that was receiving the car. And so we were very specific. In fact, I drove down there earlier so I could be there at 9 o'clock to get in line, so that when this donor came, that they didn't have to wait in line, and boom, they were going to be there. And so when they got there, there was no line at the DMV, not at all. But I called the person getting the car, and she was like, oh, I can't get there till 10 o'clock. Did you know it's raining? And I'm like, well, yeah, but we got to. God redeemed all that too. And the donor was blessed, I think, more than the lady that got the car. The lady that got the car was obviously ecstatic, and her husband was ecstatic in the hospital, and all these different things going on. But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I will treasure that moment, as I will. I think we've given away 4 cars this year, and I think I'm going to treasure every one of those has a story. There was a lady that had been in an abusive relationship. Her husband had beat her almost to death and then taken everything. She had abandoned that, and the social services with helping her. That lady got a car this year. You don't think I'm pondering that one in my heart? Well, we have Beverly is in Durham, North Carolina. She thinks she can name that noise. I'm very excited about that. Beverly, you are on the Christian Car Guy Show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you want to hear it again?
I think I might can answer.
I hope so. I'm excited.
I got faith that you got it. You have got it, Beverly.
Okay. I think that it's like I want to say a sled, not a sled, but you're dragging something through the tree, the leaves, like a Christmas tree being dragged through the leaves with the sled.
I love that picture. You know, that's something you would ponder in your heart, right? And that's fruit that you would ponder in your heart. Keith, could you play it one more time so that we could hear it? Now, again, I wasn't there when this was recorded, so it's possible that way off in the distance, somebody was dragging your Christmas tree. So we're going to give it to you, Beverly. But what's actually going on here, again, is a little different, but I'm excited about you calling in. And have you got something you're pondering this Christmas, Beverly, that in your heart?
Yes, I'm pondering my girls. I mean, I got 3 daughters, and I'm pondering that God is going to use them like never before this end time.
Isn't that
and
awesome?
he uses them. They sing, and they have beautiful voices, and the anointing is in their voice. And I'm just pondering that God is going to really use them like never before.
That is absolutely beautiful. And you know what I discovered this week, Beverly, was that when the Jewish people have a wedding ceremony, I've talked about before that the bride goes to the groom 7 times, but what I had never noticed before is that there's a 7-fold blessing that they say at the end of the wedding ceremony.
Uh-huh.
And interestingly, they don't bless the couple. They bless God. They're like, God, be blessed for this marriage. Be blessed on the joy that you see in the bride and the groom. Be blessed by the children that are going to take your message to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said that, I couldn't help but think that, wow, God is blessed by your daughters and their voices and the gifts that he's given them that they're unwrapping to use for his glory. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. So thank you for calling in. I'm so grateful that you're listening and that you called in today. God bless.
Okay, thank you.
I'll put you on hold and he'll get your information. And we still have more callers because that noise it's a little tricky. It may be the trickiest one I've ever done.
It is tricky.
It is tricky. But I will
But I love some of these visual pictures of what they've thought of.
And go back to what I was saying about the ark at the beginning of the show. And I think that you'll begin to see now, where would Robbie's mind go to create a noise this morning? And that has to do possibly with fruit, just saying. And speaking of fruit and things that I think are in my heart that I'm cherishing, number one is all the listeners to this show. I mean, as we talked about, the calls and the people that listen and keep us on the air. Otherwise, we wouldn't get to have all this fun, Jerry.
Yeah.
But the other thing is all the wonderful, I think we're on 67 radio stations now, that God has blessed that amazingly.
Wow.
And how fun is it that, we get all these calls from all over the country and we get to do all these things. And the labor love spreads out there, we had 242 applicants, we're not done with the year, but so far we've had 242. There's 261 working days in a year, so we've almost had one every single day, and we've distributed almost $20,000 from your gifts, donations that you guys sent in. And so, wow. So unbelievable that's happening. And so we are so grateful. I couldn't be more grateful to see that. But 242 prayers I got to pray with applicants this year so far. So we got so much more pondering, treasuring when we come back.
I feel you
are on the treasure hunt today for Christmas. I mean, what a wonderful thing to ponder in our heart like Mary this year, all the different ways that you've seen God show up and do things. And I've seen so many amazing things this year. It's just so awesome. Well, one of the amazing things that's happening right this very second is Stu Epperson Sr., my boss's father, is actually calling in. So welcome, Stu. You're on the Christian Car Guy Show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Robbie?
I am excited as I can be to hear what you have for us.
Well, listen, I'll tell you, I've got an opportunity for a great blessing, okay? A great blessing. And this is such a great blessing opportunity that I was just thinking, why am I not doing this? Okay, here's the deal. In fact, I might just do it. I'll tell you, I'm envious of the person who does this. We need a van. What is it, 11 or 12 passenger van? Which is it? Which one is it? Is it? They come.
It's 12 passenger usually, yeah.
12 passenger. Okay, 12 passenger van to haul little children. Now these are fatherless children. Okay, they don't have daddies. They live in public housing, and they will be hauled by Miss April. She's been doing this for years, and her van broke down. Todd Denai has been donating his van, and it broke down, and it's got 185,000 miles on it.
Wow.
It's not worth fixing. And so, and something else is wrong with it other than what caused it to break down. And so we need a 12-passenger van. And this is an opportunity for someone who has a van that you can spare. Or if you can't spare it, if you want a real blessing, I mean, she'll fill that up with little children to go to Sunday school every Sunday morning at church. And then, listen to this, during the week she hauls them to a Christian day school.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Christian day school. It's an escape from poverty. It's an escape to a new life, going on to college. They're on a route to college, to a Christian college, likely. And this is Miss April, and it's from East Winston. And if you want to do this, if you donate this van, Mr. Bill McLean is putting up some money to provide the gas for it and the maintenance for it and everything. And these vans run forever.
Yeah, well, we can do the Jesus Labor Love is a 501c3, and we're set up to be able to receive those, Stu.
Yeah, and you get a tax-deductible receipt.
Yeah,
plus,
and the neat thing, like you described a minute ago, is that the person that gives it, I've watched this, the blessing that they get is beyond gigantic at the same time. So sometimes it's nice to be able to give it yourself, but sometimes it's really cool to be the middleman. Because I get to be the middleman a lot, I'm like, wow, look at this. Look what God did, and look how he's taking care of his own. And when people have the courage to ask for help, and the faith to believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, I've got some other things I'm going to do, but this is one right at the top of my list. You got all these kids, you might you'll see in heaven someday, and say, "Thank you for." Isn't that a blessing? Can you believe that?
Yeah. If I could be part of that, we're hoping that this is going out to somebody in North Carolina that has access to that kind of van.
Yeah.
And then we'll get it done.
I'm on my way to Rolling Hills right now to Kids Extreme. Starts at 11 o'clock. I-40 is closed now, so you got to go a roundabout way. So I'm going to about make it on time. But we go for an hour, and Miss Jackie's there, and Ron, and Mr. Bill, and we're going to sing about the Jesus, and we're going to talk about baby Jesus in the manger, and these little children. They're going to do their Christmas pageant. They're going to do the Christmas story, and everybody has a part. They're dressed in a costume. It is such a blessing. All these little children, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and
you're going to ponder that in your heart for the rest of the week, probably.
Yeah, God said He'll be a father to the fatherless, and they do this every weekend, and they'll have 40, 50 kids there this morning, and then in other places, in other parts of the city. So we just praise God for the opportunity. But if you want to be a blessing, a real blessing, and be blessed, believe me, it is truly better to give than to receive. I know we laugh about that a lot and everything, but boy, it is really true in the end, the ultimate. And those of you who give, you know what I'm talking about. It is so much better to give than to receive. And Jesus said, for the joy that was set before him, the joy that was set before him endured the cross. There was a joy there. There was pain, but there was joy. Anyway, I could go on and on. But anyway, I'm about sold myself. I'm just doing this.
Thank you, Stu.
Give somebody else an opportunity.
Well,
if they
God
don't
bless.
do it, then I'm going to do it, Robbie.
All right. That sounds awesome. Thank you, Stuart. God bless.
Hey, we'll see you.
All right.
Bless you, man. I love the show.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, we have all these folks that want to answer this noise, so we better get to those as we ponder that in our heart. We got Ken is in Colfax. Ken, can you go pretty quick?
Yeah.
What you think?
I ponder my children playing in the leaves.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, just like the snow.
And there were probably children playing in those leaves at the same time. So I'm gonna call you a winner too, and I'm gonna put you on hold. And we got Barbara is in Greer, South Carolina. Barbara, you're on the Christian Car Guy Show.
Yes.
What do you think it is?
I think it's like a seed spreader that you're going through the lawn. It's something mechanical that is making a repetitive noise. I thought it was a copying machine at first.
Well, it could be. It could have been. It could have been that. Because, in the background somewhere that was going on. But what I actually recorded was a little different than that. But once again, it's a great guest, so I'm going to put you on hold. We'll get your information, and I'm going to call you a winner as well. We have Sarah Linda in Port Orchard, Washington. So maybe out west they know what this noise is.
Well, I'm not sure. But I was thinking of the treasure that was poured out of the heart of our Lord. And then I was thinking of a treasure or like coins, but then I thought, no, it sounds maybe like pecans or hazelnuts or the nuts that comes from the trees that is being poured out. But
now, Sarah, you are the closest. By far and away.
Really?
Yeah, you have come really close. What's actually happening is they are harvesting grapes.
They're harvesting grapes?
Grapes. It's grapes that are being harvisted. And so that's the treasure. And as Jerry brought out, I think about this.
Yeah.
If God puts the fruit out on our vine, right? Because he's the vine, we're the branches. If he puts it out there, if we don't try to consume it and ingest, that which he gave us, then we don't get to enjoy the fruit. And so whether it's your almonds, as you were talking about, or walnuts, it's a similar thing, sure.
Pecans or something, I'm thinking of, but
we gotta run, Sarah. I'm sorry to cut you off, but thank you for calling in. God bless and Merry Christmas to you all. We thank you so many for
Robbie, what a great morning. And you know what? Christmas season, I know you got to wrap up. But man, it's the greatest opportunity in the world to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. The door's wide open. Don't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, and as always, we ask you, slow down. Jesus walked everywhere he went, got it all done in 33 years. Take time to ponder those pieces of treasure and put them in that treasure chest in your heart that keeps the fruit. Thanks for listening to the Christian Car Guy.